Well, hey, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to the channel here for this installment of Open Mic, the show where the mic is open, the floor is yours. What do you want to talk about? What topics would you like to discuss? What questions do you have in regards to our favorite things? Movies, movie news, TV, and streaming, and all that good stuff. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio by the fifth turtle, Ray Ora.
Yeah.
Jonathan Voico's here.
Hey.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thanks for being here today, guys. And there's two different ways that you can get a topic or question on Open Mic. The first way is if you're watching this video in any of the 23 hours of the day that we don't stream it live, you can send it in anytime 24/7 to our tip link at streamelements.com/John Campea/tip. Or if you are watching live, you can use the super chat feature in the live chat. Now, before we get into your topics and questions today, you know, this weekend, I've mentioned it a few times, went to go see the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie. And, you know, hey, one of my favorite things, absolute favorite things as a movie fan is, I mean, it's great when you got a movie that you're super excited about and you go see it and it's great. That's awesome. That's great. But one of the best things as a movie fan is when you've got a movie that you really don't think is going to be that good. And then you go and you have a really good time anyway. That's a really pleasant experience.
And you get a text 4 hours before the movie starts from me with a countdown clock. Every hour that passed, me and Ann were texting back and forth. She was like 1 hour, and then I texted her back 52 minutes.
I know. Ann and I were both getting texts from Ray with these countdown clocks the morning that we were going to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Up so
and listen,
early.
It doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen often that I get a movie that I really think will be bad and end up loving it. Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse is one of them. The first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie was one of them. There's been a few. Every year there's one or two, but yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Mutant Mayhem one, was really a pleasant, surprising movie and a really good one. And now it looks like it might actually end up being a little financially successful. There's reports coming out now that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I don't know if you've got the news page there, Jonathan, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is projecting to make $35 million opening weekend.
Do you have it on your end?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
While he does that, I got a little quick trivia for you.
Wow.
What is the best or the surprise film that I watched with you? Let me say, what film surprised me the most?
Surprised you the most?
Yeah, surprised me. What was
that you saw with me?
Yeah.
Oppenheimer.
No. Priest. Remember when we went to go see Priest?
Yeah, that was another one that I think was going to be any good.
I didn't think it was going to be good. And we sat in there and we're like, whoa.
Yeah, well, actually, you know what the funny thing about Priest is? This is the Paul Bettany movie. A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was really quite good.
Yeah, we saw it on the screen and then we drove straight to watch Thor at El Capitan, or the reverse. It was one of the other.
No, because I didn't see Priest in town.
No, we saw it. We together. We went to, because that was...
It must have been my second screening of it then. It had to have been my second screening because I didn't first see it in town. I first saw it at one of the cons.
Oh, okay.
Because I had Maggie Q sitting beside me.
Don't even get me started on Ghost Dog.
Oh, Ghost Dog.
Yes, obviously Ghost Dog. The Academy Award qualifying movie, Ghost Dog. No, so getting back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Their projecting is going to make $35 million in opening weekend. Now, that may not sound like a whole bunch of money, but here's the thing. They spent how much money to make this movie?
$70 million.
$70 million to make this movie. In an era right now where a lot of these movies are being made for like $250 and sometimes $300, sometimes $350 million, they made this movie for $70 million, which means its break-even point is going to be, God, somewhere around the $250 million range. I mean, if they can open this thing to $35 million domestically, this thing has a shot of not only breaking even, but making a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
Look, what it has going for it is it has no animated competition right now. I mean, Elemental's going out the door.
Yeah, but it's on its final legs.
Yeah. And I'm just hoping the word of mouth of it being good, like will trickle like Elemental did. That's where I think it's going to make its money, because right now, Barbenheimer is still strong. I think it's going to take this weekend again, too.
Well, Barbie, for example, just crossed the $811 million mark. $811 million.
I'm saying that's going to end at 1.6.
No,
Yes.
no. It's already like well past its second weekend. You're saying doubling its money?
Yeah.
No.
Because I'm gonna go so many times this week.
This is a bet. I mean, hey, listen, I didn't think the movie,
that one too.
I initially didn't think it would make $1 billion. I didn't. And now that's obvious. But I am willing to do a $1,000 hot toy bet that it will not hit 1.6 billion.
No. Well, I will bet it will beat Mario. That's the better bet.
Well, that's a closer
better
issue,
bet,
right?
yeah.
Because now that you're talking about 1.3. And listen, it's still a little over $500 million away from that. And listen, that's more than a Black Adam, like a full Black Adam away. $500 million still to go after it's already had its first couple of weekends. But it is possible because it's pacing with Mario Brothers right now. So that means it can get there. And a month ago, I never would have thought that was possible, but here we are.
I give it this weekend and next weekend that'll still be strong, and then it'll fizzle.
But we're here to talk about Turtles.
Right? Yeah. Sorry.
So, I mean, the question, and look, this movie, the charm of it, the fun of it, the pure entertainment value of it, this is not a movie that deserves to be a $1 billion movie, but this is a movie that deserves to be a financially successful film. And I have found myself now to really hoping that we do get another one.
Yeah.
And get another one relatively soon because I thought it was charming and fun and the characters were great. And if it can open to 35 million or more, because I think the word of mouth is going to be very positive. What's the critic rating sitting for it right now? Because wrap your heads around this. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant
went
Mayhem,
down to 94%.
all the way down. But how many reviews now?
Now it's got 117. Oh, it's 95% now. 117, 94% audience score, 95% critic score.
This is a movie that deserves it.
I've been debating on my AMC app the whole day. Should I go to the 7:45 because it opens tonight? And I was like, should I go or something like that?
Why not?
I was gonna actually go by myself if I had to.
Well, why
know
not?
what I mean? But because it's almost full, like it's only the side seats. I wanted to watch it in the Dolby Prime. It was too late.
I would love to see it in the Prime
Yeah.
because we didn't see it in the Prime when we saw it.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, go out and check out. I can't believe I'm telling you this, but go out and check out the Turtles movie. It's really, really fun. All right. With that down, guys, let's get over to your questions here, shall we? We're going to start off with the people who sent in questions using the tip link. So, Jonathan, what do we got?
BK Dan writes, John, tinfoil hat theory. What would prevent AMPTP studios from simply circumnavigating SAG and buying finished products from A24 and such, thereby using SAG, not using SAG?
Because the AMPTP is filled with A24's competitors. The AMPTP is Disney, and they are Warner Brothers, and they are Netflix, and they are Paramount Plus, and they are Peacock, and they are Lionsgate, and they and they are Sony, and they are that's the thing. That's what's going to hold them off from signing any deals. And by the way, A24 is a small studio. They can only produce so much. So, that would become one of the big problems. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the stuff that A24 is producing, it's ultimately is going to end up on an HBO Max or a Netflix or something like that anyway. But yeah, that's not really something that's practical to do. All right, what's next?
Immature Child writes, I asked about Rotten Tomato critic score before and why it's not pointless compared to mass audience score, single reviews. Your answer was they watch more, but that's critics watch more films, but films are subjective. Doesn't that matter? You compare to Cars Tech, but those have objective things to measure. Not necessarily.
No, that's not
objective.
true at all. If that were true, then everybody would drive the same car. It's just not so. Everybody would drive the same car if it was all purely objective. Now, there are certain objective things about a car. What's the top speed of that car? You can measure that, right? What is the turning radius of that car? Well, you can measure that. Mm-hmm. But that's not why 99% of people buy their cars. Like if I go out into my parking lot right now, if there are 12 different cars, there's probably going to be 10 different ones. Cars are also very subjective. Yeah, movies and art and all that kind of stuff is very subjective, but so is which cell phone you use. So is which laptop you use. Listen, you want to know, here's the dirty secret of the tech world, particularly the computer world right now. All of them are the same. They can all do the same thing. Basically, for 99% of the population, what 99% of people would use a laptop for, everything out there does it. A Chromebook does it, a MacBook does it, a PC does it, whether it's a Samsung PC, an Asus PC, whatever. They all do the same thing, but we each have our individual preferences and flavors.
What brand?
Brands
what brand
we like.
You trust, really,
Yeah.
if they all do the same thing. So I just want to say, with critic scores with me, I don't think they're like the Bible of whether to go see a movie or not, right? Like, even with a good high critic score, it's like very shiny when it's a 90-something%, right? But I still go through it, reading the people that I like, that you've mentioned before.
There's no such thing, right? Because movies and art hits us all in different ways. Just like food. Food is completely subjective, 100% subjective. But really good food critics who really know food and have eaten in 10 times more restaurants than I ever will in my entire life, their opinion will carry a lot of weight and a lot of value. But food is still subjective, and it doesn't guarantee that I'm going to like it when I sit down and eat, right? It doesn't guarantee it. But if I have like 5 food critics that I really find I vibe with, and they're super food experts, if they love a particular restaurant, the odds are good that I'm going to like it. It doesn't guarantee it. It's just like movies, right? When there's a movie out there that's, say, like a 92%, that doesn't guarantee I'm going to like the movie, but it does tell me there's a pretty damn good chance I'm going to like the movie.
We just liked the 43% movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, Haunted Mansion, right? I mean, but that was a coin toss, right? That's a little less than half of the critics liked it, a little more than half of them didn't. So that's a coin toss. But yeah, movies are absolutely subjective. They hit us all in different individual ways. But what you're saying, like, well, since it's all subjective, we shouldn't have to listen to the critics. Well, you were just arguing that I read the audience scores.
Yeah.
Well, the audience's response is going to be all subjective too anyway, right? So again, that's why I say, for me, I have 3 main voices that I listen to. And for those of you who didn't see it, there are 3 main categories. I listen to all of them. And then once I listen to all of them, I weigh all the information and I make my own decision about whether or not I want to see a movie or not and stuff like that. The one voice is the voice of the creators or the marketing, the trailers, what the studio is saying about their own movie, right? I listen to that. I listen to the audience scores, right? Now, granted, a lot of the audience are people who, I don't know, think SpongeBob SquarePants is the greatest piece of art ever created by mankind. Maybe some of those people in that audience saw 3 movies this year, but it's one of the big 3 pillars that I listen to. And then the third pillar I listen to is critics, the people who see more movies than anybody else, who understand movies better than anybody else, all that kind of stuff. I take all 3 of them into account, and they all have, for different reasons and in different ways, a different level of value. But yeah, like 100 times out of 100, I will, like, if I've got a friend who watches 6 movies a year and I've got a friend who watches 160 movies a year, 100 times out of 100, I'm going to listen to the one who sees 160 movies a year. And probably about 80 to 90% of the time, not always, and it's not guaranteed, I'll probably end up liking or not liking what they liked or not liked.
And to the writer, if he finds more comfort in clicking on the audience scores and reading them, and that he trusts that more, you're not wrong at all.
No, to me, it's one of the things you should listen to. I think it's one of the things you should listen to.
I've never clicked on audience scores, but what's weird is when I go to the TV series, I weigh audience score a little bit more than movies. I never care about the audience score when it comes to the movies on Rotten Tomato, but when I start getting to TV series, for some reason, the audience score weighs a little more there for me, and I actually do go through them. I don't know why.
Right. Again, like I said, to me, my basic premise on this is always this: going to a movie is an investment of time and money. You are investing your time, and your time is a non-renewable resource, and you are investing money. And I think, for me as a consumer, whenever I am going into something where I have to either invest any of my resources, whether it's just money or it's time and money or whatever, I do some research before I invest time and money. I don't care if it's in a new pair of shoes. I don't care if it's in a new laptop or a new cell phone, a new car, or a movie I'm going to. I think more film fans should be more educated in self-educating, I should say, when it comes to anything you're going to invest time and money into. And yeah, that's just kind of my thought on that. All right, what's next?
Brandon Robinson writes, "Hey, John, I have finished my summer movie viewing haul. Before I go back to teaching high school next week, I saw 20 films in theaters in total. I like the vast majority of them, but here are my rankings from least to favorite." And he just simply lists them off here. Insidious, Red Door, Fast X, Elemental, Transformers, Gran Turismo, Talk to Me, Indiana Jones, Joyride, Barbie, The Flash, Mutant Mayhem, Little Mermaid, Blackening Strays, Guardians of the Galaxy, Dead Reckoning, Across the Spider-Verse, Sound of Freedom, Past Lives, and number 1, Oppenheimer.
Is that
This Strays? Wait a minute. What
Strays was 7. But
Did Strays
Strays isn't
come out?
out yet.
Yeah, Strays is not out. Maybe this is
Oh,
most anticipated.
Oh, that must be, maybe it's an anticipated
Or we
thing.
busted him and he saw it early.
No, because some of those movies you just read aren't out yet. Strays
Yeah.
isn't out.
Okay, well, I mean, for whatever the criteria is, there have been a lot of, it has been actually a surprisingly pretty darn good summer for movies. I mean, even some of the movies that aren't doing so well, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, right? I mean, it's hard to say a movie that's made over $400 million is not doing so well, but I mean, that a terrific movie, absolutely terrific movie. Oppenheimer, Barbie, a number of the other films this year. I liked Indiana Jones.
I did too.
That was a huge flop, but that was, again, it's not as good as the original trilogy. It's significantly better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It was a good look. I have had a really good time in the movie because you know what's really good before the summer. I think I went like 6 or 7 or 8 movies deep where I liked like 1 or 2 of them. And it was getting really depressing that I was going to all these movies I wasn't liking. And then kind of the summer season hit and I've liked almost everything I've seen this summer, which has been pretty good.
After Quantum Mania is what I say. After and before Quantum Mania. Everything after Quantum Mania that I watched, I've liked. So I'm on a good streak. I skipped Fast X, so
Yeah, so you're good on that.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
BK Dan writes, "John, in my honest opinion, as an MCU fanboy and a Trekkie, Tom Hiddleston is to Loki as John Delancey is to Q. You cannot see anyone else playing them, but them as no one should try."
That's completely not true.
Yeah, I don't know what that. That's a little fascist there, man. Only I say.
No, I mean, whenever a fan says only this person can play that, it's objectively incorrect. I mean, because they've said that about characters for the last half century, and then another actor comes along and plays the character, and all of a sudden now that's the only person who can play that. But I do agree, BK, on the premise that when I think of Loki, it's very difficult to think of anybody else other than Loki. But remember, it came very, very close to somebody else playing him. It was very close to somebody else playing Loki. And if they did it and they were great, we would say, nobody could have done it better than this guy. Well, little do we know that there was this actor, Tom Hiddleston, that he almost got the role and was going to be just as good, if not better, right? I mean, a lot of people, thought when Richard Harris passed away that, well, I don't know what Harry Potter's going to do. No, well, guess what? Then Gambone came along and did a really, really good job. People say only Connery can be Bond. No, some people only Moore can be Bond. Nope. Some people only Brosnan can be Bond. Nope.
we're going to hit that in the near future with Superman Legacy. It's going to be a little uncomfortable with me and you first when we see the new Superman.
But not
it's
for not for the majority of audiences, because the majority of audiences didn't care enough to even go see the movie.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, for me and John, it would probably be a little.
But it's always going to be like that,
and then
right?
you have to accept it.
Yeah, it's just once you actually sit down and give it a chance, like it's hard for me to imagine anybody other than Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark. Of course, it's hard to, but I know that yes, they can.
Sure.
Somebody else can come along. But it is very, like, you're right. John Delancey is Q. It's very difficult to imagine anybody else playing Q, or Tom Hiddleston. It's hard.
Yeah.
But it can be done.
And the next person's not going to try to replicate Hiddleston.
No.
They're going to give it their own
well,
spin.
if they're smart, they won't.
Yeah, they'll give it their own spin, and then you'll say,
well,
oh,
that's the
he's
great thing about Chris Pine when he took over Captain Kirk, right?
Right.
Chris Pine took over Captain Kirk. And one of the things I was really afraid about that new Star Trek stuff, well, back when it was new, was that we were going to get whoever was going to play Kirk trying to do a William Shatner impersonation, right? And they didn't. Christopher Nolan didn't. He made Kirk his own. He took a lot of the characteristics, of the personality traits of Kirk without taking on the mannerisms of Kirk. And I think that's always important when another actor takes over an iconic role. All right, what's next?
Soylent Green writes, with the release of Dune 2, hopefully later this year, and the first film doing well, even with a day and date release, I'm hoping for a much bigger box office this year. Do you think Dune 2 makes over or under 1.5 Black Adams? I think that's like 1 billion. I'm thinking over.
No, that would be over
Right,
under
4,
600,000.
Well, 1.5, right?
1.5 would be 600,000.
Oh, 1.5.
Yeah, because Black Adam is 400 million, well, close to 400 million. So 1.5 Black Adams would be six. Oh no! Listen, the first Dune made over $400 million with a pandemic and a moronic, idiotic, stupidest decision in the history of entertainment, day and date release on HBO Max and in theaters at the same time, and it still made $400 million. There's no way. Unless early word comes out about Dune 2 that it sucks or whatever, which is hard to imagine. The last one won 6 Academy Awards. But I don't see there being any way. A billion, I'm not sure. But there is no way. With the last one being day and date release, still making 400, easy, this one makes 600. Yeah. Easy. Now, how much over 600? That's up for debate. 700, 800, who knows? But over 600, I feel very comfortable with that. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got John Tehu writes, hey, John, recently I rewatched Thor 4 and Zack Snyder's Justice League and was wondering if you wrote it, who would you have win in a fight of their two Zeuses? Thanks, man. Bring on this sweet, sweet filthy. I didn't know there was a Zeus in Justice League.
It's in the Zack Snyder when they do the flashback to the great battle between the armies of men and heroes and you know when Darkseid first attacked.
Oh.
Well, I mean,
were they played by Russell Crowe too?
No. That's right. Also played by Russell Crowe.
Come on, Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
I don't care. Listen, Thor, Love and Thunder has problems. Russell Crowe was not one of them. Russell Crowe's Zeus to me was not one of the problems. It had plenty of problems. You know, El Wapo would say it had a plethora of problems. Any good bonus points to anybody who got that reference. It had a plethora of problems. But Russell Crowe's Zeus was not one of them. To me, actually, Russell Crowe's Zeus was one of the most enjoyable things of the movie. You are not invited to the orgy. It's one of the great lines in movie history. I put it right up there with, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. And right under that is, you are not invited to the orgy.
And I'm pretty sure Crowe is like Zeus in a real fight with Russell Crowe because he's a big fight fan. You always see him at the Australian boxing events. And also, have you seen that South Park episode where he goes around and just beats up everybody?
Nope.
The whole episode is Russell Crowe going around and beating up Chinese people, Japanese people, black people, Mexicans, just everybody.
Was he some kind of racist in it?
No. He just, anyone he encountered, he just punched in the face.
Oh, okay.
Because I
thought you were saying he's singling out minorities.
No. He's just an aggressive guy.
Got it. Yeah. All right. What's next?
Sam Fisher writes, I just saw The Shark is Broken on Broadway. It was excellent. Every one of the actors really captured Scheider, Dreyfuss, and Shaw, but it was a 95-minute show, and I kind of got bored. It doesn't need to be rewritten, but restructured, and I want to rewatch Jaws.
So what Sam is talking about here, Sam wrote us in the other day to let us know that he was actually going to a Broadway show of a making of Jaws, live on stage Broadway show about the making of Jaws, which to me sounds absolutely ridiculous, and God, I'd love to see it. But yeah, that is one of the cool things about seeing stage plays like that. Like, whenever I see Les Mis live, I always want to go home and watch one of the Les Mis iterations on film. When I watch Beauty and the Beast live and on stage, I want to go home and watch Beauty and the Beast. So yeah, I could totally understand that. All right, what's next?
And then he just has a follow-up, Sam Fisher. Also, now I can't wait for them to turn this play into a movie because movies about making famous movies is all the rage, like with Disaster Artist and The Offer. Although Disaster Artist is like 5 years old. But
yeah, and The Offer, I mean, that was a series, right? I don't think they'll turn that into a movie probably. But by the way, just the fact that you brought up The Offer. Guys, I believe it's a Paramount Plus show. Mm-hmm. If you have not seen The Offer, you must. It is really one of the best things that's been on television. I'd say it's a top 10 best thing on TV in the last 3 or 4 years. It's about the making, how they made The Godfather. And it's not a documentary. It's scripted. It's got, what's his name? Goose's son.
Oh, yeah,
Rooster.
yeah. Miles Teller.
Miles Teller, thank you. It's got Miles Teller in it. Absolutely incredible. I don't know why it didn't get more Emmy love than it did, because it is a remarkable, remarkable show. Check it out when you get a chance. All right, what's next?
All right, now moving on to Super Chats.
Oh, well, then why don't we use this time to take a break?
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. So we're going to continue on with the Super Chats. Before we do, we're going to take just a minute and thank the sponsor of today's episode of Open Mic, our friends, Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. Signing your life away to a big wireless provider is kind of like being trapped on a roller coaster from hell. Sure, it looks like fun at first. They probably even threw in a free phone, but now you can't get off. Month after month of insane bills and unexpected thrills, like overages and surprise fees. If that sounds like your current big wireless plan, it's time to get off the ride with Mint Mobile. For a limited time, wireless plans from Mint Mobile are just $15 a month. That's unlimited talk, text, and data for just $15 a month. You guys know before I came to Mint Mobile, I was paying triple what I am paying now on the standard big wireless plan, and I will never go back. All plans come with unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped right to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to my mobile service provider, Mint Mobile, and they should be yours as well for sponsoring this episode of Open Mic. All right, guys, with that down, let's keep things going here. What do we got up next?
Jesse writes, trying to get into the CW verse. Don't. Still got a long way to go, but wanted to ask, how come Batman doesn't have a major role in the universe or let alone have his own show? Was it because of Gotham?
No, it's because they didn't want to dilute the character. Yeah. Which, listen, Warner Brothers used to have a rule. You don't put Superman and you don't put Batman on TV. These are our primary main, they are the fine china of what we have. And if we start throwing them in TV shows, it's going to dilute them. And even though a show like Superman and Lois is pretty good, it did dilute the character. I've enjoyed Superman and Lois.
Is that with Hoagland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same? Okay.
Yep. I enjoy it. It's good. I really like the first season. The second season wasn't quite as good, but it's still, even though the show is good, the mystique, if you will, of Superman being like the granddaddy of all superheroes, that's been watered down a bit because they threw him on a CW show. And I think they really did want to avoid that with Batman. But I mean, obviously they eventually started breaking their rule with that. They did bring Superman into CW verse, but they always resisted. I mean, we got a glimpse of Kevin Conroy appeared in that one, the crossover event, right?
Bruce.
Where he, as a Bruce Wayne who went evil, right? So they did do that, but yeah, they just didn't want to dilute the character anymore. And I think it's a very smart decision that they didn't do that because listen, any Batman you put on TV would have been a cheapened version of Batman. It just would have. And as great as Superman and Lois is, it is a cheapened version of Superman. But, even though I really like it, it's great, but it's a cheapened version.
But if CW saw those ratings jump up when they introduced Superman, there's a good chance they would have brought Batman now.
Well, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Because they already did it with Superman. So all they needed was just another excuse to bring in Batman, but it didn't really help.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
All right. Jedi Master has a two-parter tinfoil hat hypothetical. I extremely doubt Gal Gadot would do this, but what if she knows she won't be returning as Wonder Woman under James Gunn's plans, and she maliciously lying about a new Wonder Woman project, so when Gunn eventually announces a new Wonder Woman, he'll get all the backlash he did with Cavill?
Yeah, no. I mean, like I said, I may have my criticisms of Gal Gadot as far as her acting ability goes, and she's gotten better. She has gotten better, but nothing I have seen from her in personal interviews and all that kind of stuff has suggested that she is anything but a super charming, wonderful individual that everybody who comes in contact with her just likes. I just can't see. And she's always been very careful about how she conducts herself and handles her image, right? I don't see that being something that she would do. Now, again, if you go back and actually read what she said, there was no guarantee in there that this is what's happening, right?
I wouldn't even bet on that.
Like, I get it. The headlines make it sound like this is what's happening. But if you actually read the words It sounds like anything but a guarantee. But she did say that Peter and James and her talked about developing a thing. She didn't say it's happening. She just said Wonder Woman 3 hasn't been scrapped. That's all she said. So it may happen, it may not. But if it doesn't happen, I don't believe for a second that means that Gal Gadot was lying. Not by any chance. I'm 100% sure that what she says is true. But what she actually said is a little bit nebulous.
Well, what's the chance of this being a in the pocket strike headline? Like they had the story and they're like, "Oh, we have nothing. Let's bring the story out."
Well, then
because it sounds like nothing concrete in that article that you wrote.
But
like,
that would be Gal Gadot doing it. She's the one who said it in the interview.
No. I meant, what if the one who wanted to report it, they're like, "Oh, just save that."
No, this is what Gal Gadot said in an interview.
Oh, okay.
Right? This is her. Nobody else did it. This was her. So, nah, that's not the case.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
Angblay71 writes, Dead City, Daryl Dixon and Rick Grimes show. The Walking Dead franchise is a zombie. It just won't die. Apparently Dead City is already out and done, and I've heard nobody talk about it.
You know, the only reason I even gave 1 second of thought to watching it is because Negan was the main character in the show. And by the way, I gave up on watching Walking Dead up until they captured Negan. Once they captured Negan, that was kind of it for me. I stopped watching the show after that. But still, I love him and I love the actor. He'll always be John Winchester to me. But I saw a few commercials. Never. And you know what? Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we've ever gotten one question about Dead City.
No.
I don't think one person has written in. So I don't personally know anybody that's, I'm sure many people have watched it. I'm saying I don't personally know anybody that's watched it. All right, what's next?
John Redcorn writes, if Gadot returns in the new DCU, I think it'll be like Cox's Daredevil in the MCU. It'll be a rebooted, I keep wanting to say World War, Wonder Woman, but with the same actress. Regardless, I trust Gunn.
You may be right about that, but that would raise another question for me. Okay. Charlie Cox is a really great actor.
I know.
Look, and I know this offends. I don't know why anybody gets offended by this, but Gal Gadot is not that good of an actress. She's become serviceable. I think she really should be getting on her agent about getting more roles in comedy. Because like I said, it's 7 years old now, but Keeping Up with the Joneses, I thought she's great in that. Like I really think, I think that's a part of her natural charisma and charm. I just find that people with all that natural charisma and charm just find a natural flow in comedy. And I thought she was the best she's ever been. I think it's the best she's ever done. And I really wish she would pursue more comedy. But yeah, the question for me would be, okay, if it is a rebooted version of the character, why not go out and get a more talented actress, a more seasoned, talented, teeth sharpened, been through the system. I mean, in the last 7 years, she's appeared in 3 movies. 3. Actually, I think I still have the list that Ray made here. Yeah, here it is. Check this out. So in the last 7 years, the only non-Wonder Woman stuff she's done was Death on the Nile, and she was not very good in that, and nobody went out to see it. She was in Red Notice, that she's in with 2 of my all-time favorite movie stars, Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson, and ain't nobody was good in that. And Keeping Up with the Joneses, which I don't care about that 19% critic rating. This is a great example. Just because the critics didn't like it didn't mean I wouldn't. I really like that movie. It flopped, though. It completely flopped, and it was terrible. But that's it. There's a reason that more people didn't line up to work with her. And it's not because she's not wonderful and a fantastic person. It's because, hey, listen, her acting ability is just not on the level that you can put a movie on her shoulders. It's just not. So if it is a rebooted version of it, I would ask, why not get a more talented actress? Because there are a lot more of them out there. But that's just my kind of take on it. All right, what's next?
Fangblaze71 writes, are you seeing the Meg 2 this week?
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have a ton of interest in seeing the Meg 2.
Not me.
I was not a big fan of the first movie.
Oh, you weren't?
But I do love me Jason Statham. Jason Statham was the first celebrity actor to give me an interview when I had started up the movie blog. I've been doing the movie blog for a little while, and Lionsgate reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're promoting this new movie, Crank." This is how I met Mark and Brian, being directed by Mark Neveldine and Brian Taylor, and who are two guys that are kind of set up me meeting Anne.
Okay.
So I'll be friends with them forever. But they were directing this movie called, why did I just freeze the name of the,
Was it? It wasn't
Crank?
Ghost Rider. Oh,
What's that?
Crank.
Crank. I was going to say Slam. Why was I going to say Slam? They were coming out with this new movie called Crank, and they said Jason would love to talk to you. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I will always have a soft spot in my heart for Jason. I think he's great. Not to mention, he stars in one of my all-time favorite movies with Snatch, which is like one of the most all-time most entertaining movies. I love that movie. So because of my fandom of Jason Statham, I'll probably end up seeing Meg 2, but I'm not super interested in it. All right, what's next?
Jamie Sundays writes, let me scroll down. Don't forget HBO's Winning Time Season 2 premieres Sunday.
Oh, Winning Time.
Is that
baby.
this Sunday? That premieres?
Game Sunday.
Game Sunday. That's awesome. You know what? Yesterday I told Ann, I said, do you realize that Harley Quinn already started a few weeks ago? She's like, what? So we sat down last night and binged the 3 episodes of Harley Quinn that are out.
Nice.
I got to get on with the new Star Trek Strange New Worlds, because I haven't watched any of the new season yet. But Winning Time coming back this Sunday.
Yeah.
God, that first season was so good. It was so good.
Yeah, but I hate having to wait for the next one. I might just let it collect a couple episodes.
No, you won't, because I'm going to have you talking about it on the show. So you'll have to watch it.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
All right.
Oh, come on. Dude,
I
there
know,
are people
I know.
who have to
Because this
dig
one-
ditches and street
because have you seen the
construction,
trailer?
and you got to watch shows.
If you've seen the trailer, this one I think goes over Larry Bird a lot more. And
it needs to. You
Yeah.
can't tell the story of the Lakers without telling the story of Larry and Magic, right? You just can't. Anyway,
Great.
all right, what's next?
All right. I don't know what just happened. Jamie Sundays writes, I don't understand what James Gunn is doing. I knew DCEU was a rebuild mode, but geez, look. This looks like they're planning to tank for the next couple seasons. Harsh.
Well, look,
Look what a
Guys.
headline does.
First
Look
of
what a
all-
headline does.
first of all, keep this in mind. None of us have any idea what James Gunn is doing. There is no real information out there. The only real information is that the new DCU starts in 2025 with Superman Legacy. That's the only real information out there. That's it. So when you talk about now, like I said on the show this morning, if they do bring back Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman in the new DCU, I'm going to have some very serious questions for James Gunn about, well, where the fuck is Henry Cavill? Why did Henry Cavill have to go? Like, I got it if you're rebooting, but if you're not rebooting, what the fuck's going on?
He's like,
Yeah,
why don't
sure.
you go ask Henry?
But the reality is none of us know what's actually happening. Nobody knows anything except James Gunn and Peter Safran. They're the only two people who actually know what's going on.
I don't put much credence with these comments.
No, neither do I. Honestly, neither do I. I don't actually think it's going to happen. But that being said, the only thing we know for sure are the projects that James Gunn himself announced, and that it starts in 2 years in 2025 with Superman Legacy. Until then, everything else is just speculation. All right, what's next?
Okay, well, more about Gal. Raymond Verada writes about Gal. I thought John would be so pissed about Henry, but you are right. Gal has this charisma. Even Mark Hamill just introduced himself to her at the Oscars. James Henry can fix your PC for free.
Henry Cavill can fix your. He can build you a PC, by the way.
yeah.
Again,
Fix, I'll
listen.
build you one.
You know what? When it really jumped out at me, like I've always liked her in interviews and stuff like that, but it was at DC Fandom when
Oh,
they
yeah, I
did
remember.
the virtual panel for the upcoming Wonder Woman 1984. And she was just conducting that whole thing. Like she took center stage and really held court in that virtual panel, right? And I watched her in that and I thought, like, I'm not kidding. I don't say this lightly. I'm not saying it's on the same level as Dwayne Johnson, but she has Dwayne Johnson-like charisma. Her natural personality, she has Dwayne Johnson-like charisma. From all of my exposure to her, she seems absolutely impossible not to like. Like, I'm serious. Even I, who am not a big fan of her as an actress per se, I find her, I love listening to her talk. I'm instantly charmed by her. I think most people would be. She's got an incredible gift that way. Now, if they can find a way to take that natural ability of hers and bring it and put her in the right kind of spot, and I really think comedy is that spot. But if they can take that natural ability of hers and find the right kind of roles to put her in, I think you could really see her blossom. I really do. But they keep putting her in stuff that isn't the best fit for her, but whatever. All right, what's next?
Chloe writes, IMAXs are nice, but miss watching a good horror movie at the drive-in. Would they build IMAX quality drive-ins or just bring back drive-ins?
The problem with drive-ins, and drive-ins are fun, and Ann and I rediscovered the drive-in during the pandemic. We went several times. I really do like it. Now, the problem with the drive-in, the biggest problem with the drive-in is that those screens, you're only going to get so much resolution outside. Number two, you will always be looking at those screens through a pane of glass in your own car, which for, a casual night out is fine. But the third biggest problem with drive-ins has always been and will always be audio.
Yep.
Because you're listening to the movie.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Right? Yeah. Through a weak-ass AM transmission that you got to dial into in your car. And I mean, it just is what it is. Now, look, when we went out to go watch, say, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, that was one of the movies we went to the drive-in to watch. It was still great fun because we knew the movie and everything like that. But if you want IMAX is supposed to be a premium viewing experience. And as great as drive-ins are, that's not what drive-ins are. Drive-ins are not premium viewing experiences. They're meant for another kind of a movie experience. The kind where you make out in your car while the movie's going on. But it's a different kind of fun. It's more casual. You're driving out, you're parked there, you walk the set, all that kind. Yeah. It's a different kind of experience. It's a great experience, but it's different. Whereas IMAX is something else. IMAX is that premium visual audio experience that you just can't get that at a drive-in.
I like to get my windshield replaced at the drive-in or actually change my oil.
Wouldn't that be great? They said you can come to the drive-in movie and we will change the oil in your car while you're parked.
Yeah, rotate my tires, baby.
I noticed some of those cars have 40X.
Yeah, that's right. The new Tesla comes with 40X.
They're rocking and
also
rolling.
the Tesla has another screen in there.
That's right. Tesla has a big screen in there.
You could dual movie it.
Hey, listen, when Ann and I, we went to...
No, I don't want to hear nothing.
What was the... what's the restaurant that... is it not Johnny Rockets? It's the one where you can still do...
Red Ruby Tuesdays?
No, it's the one where you can actually pull up in park.
Oh, Sonic.
Sonic.
Yeah.
Ann took me to a Sonic for the first time a couple of months ago. I'd never been to one. Mm-hmm. And so we pulled up and it was like, we ordered our stuff through the thing. Then we just sat there in the car. We pulled up Netflix in the car, watched movies in the car. It was great.
I say there's a 75% chance you ordered something that had Texas toast because they put all their sandwiches. There's a Texas toast version of every sandwich.
I had a grilled cheeseburger on Texas toast.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep,
all right, what's next?
All right, Fangblaze still stoking them flames. What annoys you more, time travel or multiverse?
They're both kind of the same problem because they are lazy. Time travel and multiverse are lazy because they basically, here's the main problem, and they're similar. The main problem with time travel is that there is no problem in any movie scenario ever that can't be solved with time travel. There's no problem in your life that couldn't be solved with time travel, right? So it's lazy. Multiverse, there are no consequences anymore. There's no stakes anymore. With multiverse, it's just everything's gone. A character dies, no big deal. Another alternate version of them comes in. Okay, great. It takes it all away. It's all the same thing. It's all the same cheap pop now. It's like, ooh, now we got 4 versions of Spider-Man fighting each other. And don't get me wrong, I loved No Way Home. I love that movie. It was great. It actually did it well. But that's why they're both kind of equally the same problem, just in slightly different flavors. You know what I mean? All right, what's next?
Not I mean.
No,
Fang Blaze is back, ranking MCU projects, but you have to guess the context. WandaVision, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Ant-Man Quantumania.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Fang Blaze.
he ranked them, but he wants us to guess out of those 3 movies what he ranked those by.
No,
That
that's
could
not
be
what he's
anything.
saying.
Oh,
He
I
says you
thought-
have to guess the context.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
What do you mean rank them by?
I meant like what's the thing that he's ranking them by, right? The context
Ranking
of what
yeah,
few
but I
projects.
have no idea. I need a little bit more to go on than that.
time travel.
No, there's no
multiverse. I don't
No.
They all have the letter A in it a lot.
All right, what's next?
King Daddy Goat, Twisted Metal is actually all right. Give it a chance.
You know what?
I want to.
Despite the fact I really like Anthony Mackie a lot, I have no interest in watching Twisted Metal. I thought the trailers looked ass. Now, that being said, I have heard from a number of people that it's actually pretty good. But the problem is I've got other stuff I want to watch, right? I haven't started watching the new season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds yet. We've got Winning Time is coming up, and there's a couple of other things I got on my list. So unless I hear from even more people that tell me it's just flat out amazing, I don't know that I've got time to watch Twisted Metal. But again, I have heard some pretty good things about it. Which is great to hear because like I want Anthony Mackie to have all the I want Anthony Mackie and I want Samoa Joe to have all the success in the world. All right, what's next?
King Daddy Goat.
Samoa Joe's in Twisted Metal.
Oh, he's in Twisted Metal?
Yeah, I think he's the big bad guy.
Nice.
King Daddy Goat writes we just did that one. Caleb Jacobs writes, your favorite Die Hard movie, mine is Vengeance.
If
Mine's the
that's
first.
number 3, then I agree. Yeah, the
third?
one with Samuel Jackson as Zeus. Hey Zeus, not Hey Zeus, it's Zeus. That is my favorite. Jeremy Irons, good Lord, is like one of my, I love when he says that. I don't know why I find that to be one of the funniest things. It is like, I get a lot of people, to them, the first Die Hard is sacrosanct. I get that and I respect that. But for me, Die Hard 3 is the best of the 3 movies.
I definitely put 2. I didn't mind 3, but I definitely put, I didn't mind 2, but I put 3 ahead of 2. So I'd be
Right.
like 1, 3, 2.
Yeah, I think most people would probably rank it that way. And then most people will never even bother talking about Die Hard 4
Oh, yeah, that didn't happen.
or 5. So, yeah. All right, what's next?
All right. Caleb Jacobs writes, Deadpool should break into a Mint Mobile commercial in Deadpool 3 with Wolverine saying, I should have stayed dead.
Yep. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if they do that. Now, some people will say, I thought I heard Ryan Reynolds sold Mint Mobile. He did, but it's going to take a long time. It's going to take a while for that deal to become final. And even when it is done, they announced when T-Mobile took over or started the process of purchasing Mint Mobile, that Ryan Reynolds was still going to stay involved. So maybe we could see him in those commercials. Maybe they won't. It would be a really good idea, but it's also a conflict of interest
Right.
because it's his own brand. So I don't know if they will or not, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if they did do that at some point. All right, what's next?
Fangblaze writes, context, if you didn't get it, Jimmy Woo appearances. Well, we didn't.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Jimmy Woo is great in WandaVision. I love him. He's great. Asian Jim. All right,
Asian
what's
Jim.
next?
Chef Rigo.
Chef Rigo.
Ray, I tried that TMNT pizza from Pizza Hut. It was so bad that I don't even want to see the movie anymore. Count me out.
Are
But
you
happy
kidding
belated
me?
birthday, bro.
What is the
Thank you.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pizza?
Remember the one with the big slices that we had on the weekend?
It's just the
I didn't get to
freezer.
have one of
It's
those. It was
frozen.
all gone by
Oh,
the time I got to it.
It was all gone?
Yeah, I had the meat lovers pizza.
Chef, you hear that? It's all gone, Chef.
Everybody. So I didn't get a chance to try it. I have no opinion of it. I will tell you that out of the chain pizzas, Pizza Hut is my favorite chain pizza. Now there are smaller places that I think I
Sure.
might prefer a little bit more, but out of all the big
Actual,
chains,
like authentic places.
yeah, I love, especially Pizza Hut's Meat Lovers Pizza is one of my all-time favorite pizzas.
Look, with the Ninja Turtles pizza, I love it because it's thin and it's the way it
I'm
get is more
loving it.
cheese. I think its only drawback is that it doesn't have that buttery crust that the Pizza Hut.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's the other thing. I
And that's the
love
best
that
part
buttery
about it.
crust. So bad for you, but so delicious. All right, what's next?
Caleb Jacobs writes, my favorite Turtles movie is Secret of the Ooze. All right.
Okay, let's move on now.
I think this one. I think this one might be my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
It's got to be up there.
And I do, because I always talk about, to me, the only real Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are the original Eastman ones. One of the great things about this movie is that they started off with a clear homage to the original Eastman.
Such a great shot.
Yeah, this great shot with them designed the way the Turtles used to be designed, with their eyes and the way they were talking.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a love letter to the original true Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And that kind of got me on board with the movie right off the bat. So it was a pretty smart move on their part. All right, what's next?
Bobby Jackson writes with a $20 super chat.
Oh, thank you, Bobby.
Thank you, Bob.
Just saw that the audience score for Rise of the Beast is 91 on Rotten Tomatoes at 430 million globally. Do you think, much like the D&D movie, the goodwill of the audience will push the studio to make a sequel? Those are expensive movies.
They're expensive movies.
What, the
man.
Transformers movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're expensive to make, and I enjoyed it. I'm one of the people that is like, I'd be one of the 91%.
The audience score.
Yeah.
I thought he meant critic score.
No. Well, the critic score wasn't bad either.
52.
Yeah.
What is it?
52.
I think it
that's
was right
lower than
above
it
the
should be.
first.
It's a good little movie. I enjoyed it. I like that movie, but they made a fundamental mistake. First of all, they should not have called it Rise of the Beasts. You only have a certain
Rise of the
demographic
Yeasts.
that grew up with the Transformers. You have an
Yeah.
even smaller section of that demographic that had anything to do with Beast Wars. And what you really should have done is followed up on the success of Bumblebee. You should have just straight up made Bumblebee 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's 100% what they should have done. Now, again, they ended up making a pretty entertaining movie, and I enjoyed it. But Jonathan's right. It's an expensive set of movies to make. So I mean, I don't know. I really don't. All right.
Everything was practical in that movie.
Yeah, it was all
It was
practical.
all real.
It was all real.
It's already there.
But you know, Optimus Prime right now is walking in front of Paramount Studios protesting, carrying a SAG strike sign. All right, what's next?
All right. I'm going to open a bakery and call it Rise of the Yeasts.
Oh,
Rise of the
boy.
Yeasts.
Dr. Stinky writes,
Okay.
just wanted to say I love y'all. Keep being awesome.
Thank you, Dr. Stinky. Appreciate that, man.
Wait, hold on, wait.
Huh?
You said that joke in your head.
No.
And then you
Said
said
it
it
out
out loud, and nothing stopped you.
Oh, man, nothing stops me, baby.
Eyes of the
Nothing stops
Yeats.
me.
You thought that was good to go, baby.
Yeah, nothing stops me.
All right, what's next?
Duck writes, is there an actor or actress you will watch in the cinema no matter what? Anya Taylor-Joy is someone I will always go watch.
Anya Taylor-Joy is fantastic.
Who do I?
You know what? Speaking about, you know what I did not love? I love Anya Taylor-Joy, and I love like just about anything that she's in, right? But there's that movie she did with Edgar Wright, and who I love, Edgar Wright, love him. I've moderated things with Edgar Wright before. He's fantastic. I love him as a filmmaker. But that movie he did with Anya Taylor-Joy last year, where Anya Taylor is the ghost and like the murder mystery. What was the name of the movie again?
Let me see it.
I want to say the word red is in it somewhere, but I could be wrong. Guys in the live chat, what was?
She's like bloody, right? On the cover of the poster. Oh, wait, no.
I can't remember. I can't remember the poster to it. But people in the live chat are freezing on it too. What is it? Last Night in Soho.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, did not love. I was so excited for that movie, and a lot of people loved it, and I was pretty wishy-washy on it. I didn't think it was great. But an actor that I will go, well, obviously he's retired now, is Daniel Day-Lewis, the GOAT, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Daniel Day-Lewis, that's the guy. The funny thing is my favorite actor in the world is Russell Crowe, but I don't go see everything Russell Crowe does. So I really can't think of anybody that it's like for me, if they're, no, there you go. It's Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
I'll go.
Mobile.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mint Mobile, but he's my favorite movie star, right? Russell Crowe's my favorite actor. Like, I think he's the best actor in the world, but other than Daniel Day-Lewis. But Ryan Reynolds is my favorite movie star. I'll go see, good Canadian kid. I'll go see anything Ryan Reynolds does.
Mine is like the moon. If the moon is involved in the movie,
The moon. That's right. They should do a rom-com with the moon. Praise goes and go see it. All right, what's next?
All right. Remy Alestra writes, I think Cavill will be back someday as a DC Elseworld Superman. The WGA and SAG strike will allow superhero movies to take a break. There is fatigue not with the moviegoers, but with the genre.
No, there's not. There's not. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 making over $800 million proves that. A little animated film, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, making close to $700 million proves that. I've said it before, I will say it again. There is no comic book movie fatigue. There is mediocre movie fatigue. And I think that's become, when you put out something that's really awesome, like that people will, that en masse really enjoy, you see box office results. And when you put out something like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, you don't see box office results. And so, and by the way, this strike isn't going to give a break to anything. We've got Blue Beetle still coming out. The strikes are going on and Blue Beetle's about to come out. So we're not getting any kind of a break. We're not getting any kind of a break. But it's, again, this is a hole that DC and now to a degree Marvel have just dug themselves into. Because if everything that had come out was fantastic and everybody loved everything that had been coming out, you'd be seeing these movies running just as hot as ever. But the fact of the matter is we've had a lot come out in the last couple of years that from audiences' perspectives have been pretty substandard. And that's what people are getting tired of. So when they're firing on all cylinders, they're going to make bank. And when they don't, they're not. And that's the way it should be. All right, what's next?
All right, we've got John Redcorn. Is Doolittle RDJ's worst film?
Ooh. It's difficult to think of any movie that's worse than Doolittle. I mean, there's not a lot of movies that have ever been made in history.
Take it to him.
Listen, I remember me and Aaron Cummings went to go see we got invited down to go watch the advanced screening of it.
Right.
And we were sitting there watching this movie, and once in a while, and we were both excited for it. And every once in a while, just kind of looking at each other and then looking back. And that movie ended. And then when we finally spoke to each other, and I can't remember if it was her or me that said to the other, "Tell me it's not just me. That was like all time bad, right?" We're like, right? And you could hear it amongst the people leaving, like the media and stuff, people leaving. So yeah, I'm going to have to go out and say, yeah, that was probably Robert Downey Jr.'s worst movie.
The twist is you guys saw it again.
We're right back the next day. No, that did not happen. But yeah, that's probably his worst movie. All right, what's next?
King Daddy Goat writes, y'all see Matt Smith was offered Reed Richards' role?
I haven't heard that, and I would doubt that that's true.
Yeah, and no trades have covered it.
But I would be curious, who's reporting that? If the Hollywood Reporter is reporting that, well, I'll give it some credence. If it's from Gus's Gas Station Movie Reviews.fart, then I don't buy it.
I just saw that Jeff Snyder, I believe, it was a tweet from and he was like, "This is the worst casting, like whatever." He was saying it was not a real story.
So not true.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that for a second. Because from the Gus's Gas Station Movie Reviews.fart sites have reported 18 different people have been offered Reed Richards. I don't believe it. I mean, again, I can't tell you definitively it's true or not. Mm-hmm. I just don't believe it at all. All right, what's next?
Michael D writes, huge fan. How do you feel about the economy making an impact on people choosing what to watch? Thanks for the mention 4 months ago.
I don't know that that's true. And the reason I remember a lot of discussions going on, remember the big housing crash. I mean, some people watching this might be too young to remember, but back when McCain and Obama were running for president against each other, basically the entire economy nearly collapsed. Mm-hmm. They've made movies about it. It was so bad that, both, George W. Bush was president at the time, and George W. Bush summoned both Obama and McCain back to Washington. They both suspended their campaigns because the problem was that big. Both of them put their campaigns on hold, came back because they had to fix it. And it was a really hard, bad economic time. But the movies did great. Chris Rock put it best. When Chris Rock talked about this a couple of years ago, about the whole notion that going to the movies is still the most economical getting out of the house thing to do. You go to a bar with a buddy, you're going to spend more money than you are going to a movie.
Even a restaurant with no alcohol. It's with two people. It's a lot.
Go to Chipotle or go to Chili's.
How dare you?
You're going to be spending more money there than you were going to a movie. It's still one of the most economical things to do. And we found out while that housing crisis was going on, and the movie still, like, people were losing their homes and everything, and people were still going to the movies because it is still the most economical thing to have a night out.
Yeah.
But
And I think that's true today
Even
too.
during hard times historically, movie theater chains have succeeded. Even during the Great Depression, people still went to the movies. Actually, they went to the movies more.
Yeah, because you can't do anything else. Like, you can't, if when things are really economically hard, you can't be buying $75 video games.
And you're not driving, you're not going on trips.
You're not going on vacation, you're going there, but you got to do something. So, hey, listen, if you don't go and buy popcorn and soda for $12, you can go out for 3 hours. You know, you and the girlfriend or the boyfriend or whatever, you can go out for a couple hours, and it becomes actually really economically viable. So I've seen the discussions about it, but I think history has shown us that I don't think that's the case.
All right,
I think concessions hurt, but
gonna
not the
speak-
box
Concessions
office.
should hurt.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
speak for Chipotle right now.
Oh boy.
You know, okay. When you watch a movie, as soon as it ends, you go home and then it's done. With Chipotle, it stays with you all night long, baby, until it decides to come out.
You should do an ad for Chipotle. That should be their new commercial. All right, what's next?
Esteban writes, thanks for the great content this summer. Gonna come back to my first grade class like the acts of Zaslav. Oh boy, I don't think I like that. On the real though, you guys are so good.
Nothing better, Esteban, than going in and killing children's dreams. Just killer dreams, man. Just chop them down. That's the best
Oh,
thing.
you want to be a fireman? No, you're never gonna be a fireman.
You're too small and weak. Yeah, that's the only reason I would ever want to be a teacher. All right, what's next?
Animation, get off my streaming service.
Fangblaze writes, I saw a report that Major's trial was tomorrow. Even
Yep.
if he's innocent, do you think Marvel will keep him around? Or has there been too much drama?
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what. Let me say this, and I have no insider scoop at Disney on this or anything, but if Marvel was going to cut him loose, even if everything comes out of the trial that he's innocent of everything, they would have cut him loose by now.
Yep.
This has been going on for months and months and months and months. They would have pulled the trigger on this a long time ago. I believe the reason they have not is because they're wanting to see how the trial goes. So I firmly believe that if the trial goes through and like it comes out the way I think a lot of people are hoping it comes out, that it's proven that he's completely exonerated. I mean, if he did it, I hope he's found guilty. But I think a lot of us are hoping that that's not the case. We're hoping he didn't do it. And if that's the case, that he didn't do anything, that he's completely exonerated. And I think Disney, if that happens, they're just going to keep going with their plans. Now, their plans might get changed because this multiverse saga has not been working, right? They may change some plans as a result of that. But again, I think if they were going to cut Jonathan Majors loose, even if he was exonerated and found innocent, they would have cut him loose a long time ago. And the reason they haven't is because they're waiting to find out how this turns out. At least that's what I think. All right, what's next?
All right, well, Fangblaze still finds it hilarious how you joked about how Harloff was talking about UFOs literally right after you made a video about UFOs.
You know what? I haven't. I hope Christian hasn't seen that.
He probably thinks it's like,
So here's the thing, and I had no idea. So on one episode, we were talking about something. I can't remember what the context was.
Oh, we're talking about the strike. If the news, like if it goes on longer than a month or something.
Oh
they might
yeah,
have to
and I
start.
said something like I was just talking out of my ass.
I know.
I said something like
Because it was the
I don't know. Maybe
topic.
we'll get so desperate we have to resort to talking about UFO stuff. Ha ha ha. Well, then like 5 minutes later, somebody wrote in a question about, what do you think about Christian talking about UFOs or something along those lines? And I'm like,
Time to
is this
talk.
a joke? I had no idea Christian was talking about UFO stuff on his channel. And I had no idea whatsoever. And I was just talking out of my ass a few minutes earlier than that. But
and
it
it
was
was-
pretty funny that it happened.
It was in the news. Like it's been in the news like lately a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
because
yeah,
of the
yeah.
hearings. So I mean,
I get it. All right, what's next?
all right, Fangblaze says there's a good chance I'll be let down by Marvel again, but so far the Marvels looks really good to me. Can't wait for more Miss Marvel.
confidence, baby.
Look, I think especially the latest trailer. I think the latest trailer in the news Marvels looks really good. And on top of that, it's got Kamala Khan in it. I loved Ms. Marvel. I love that character. Even in the trailers, she's delightful. Like the moment when the cat like eats all those guys, like even her reaction, like it's just there's something so wholesome and amazing and charming about that character. Now, after Secret Invasion, I've got some doubts about this movie. I do. I am not going into this movie as confident as I was going into Captain Marvel, which turned out to be a pretty good movie. Not great, not upper echelon thing, but was pretty good. Made $1 billion, all that kind of stuff. I have some apprehensions about this movie, but I think the trailers have looked good.
My apprehensions are what happens when Miss Marvel is thrown in something where it's not so intimate anymore with her family. And her family is probably not even going to be in the movie a lot. That was the charm of Miss Marvel, is
that
her
was
interaction.
that was the strongest aspect of the show, is her interactions with her family.
Well, she's
So
just stepped
what if she's
into a
put in the
wider
mix?
world.
She might be buried like within everything else going on, and that's what I'm afraid of.
Maybe. And that that's a valid concern. At least in stuff like with the trailers, the moments we see her in the trailers without her
she's great.
family,
She's
it
still
looks
her.
like she's still her, right?
Right.
And hopefully that'll play out. Because honestly, I believe, and this is weird saying it, that the fact that she's in it with an Academy Award winner like Brie Larson, she could steal that movie. I think she could absolutely steal that movie. So we'll see. All right, what's next?
All right, last one, Caleb Jacobs. I loved U.S. Marshals with Robert Downey Jr.
You know what? So a lot of people don't even realize U.S. Marshals is indeed a sequel
Yeah,
to Harrison Ford's
The Fugitive.
The Fugitive. It's a sequel without Harrison Ford.
Right, it's like their next mission.
Yeah, it's Robert Downey Robert Downey Jr.'s because of Tommy Lee Jones's character, the one who says "I don't care" in The Fugitive. It's him and his team with the next case, right? And it's first of all, it's nowhere near as good as The Fugitive. And by the way,
I saw it in theaters.
The Fugitive might be Harrison Ford's most underappreciated movie. That like I don't like to throw around the term masterpiece. It's a masterpiece movie. I love that movie. If you haven't seen The Fugitive, what the hell? Watch it. It's incredible. But U.S. Marshals was surprisingly good. I didn't think it was great,
Yeah, it was all right.
but it was good.
It's
It's a
aight.
good little movie. That was Wesley Snipes was in that one too, right?
That I can't remember.
I think it was Wesley Snipes that was in it with him. Ray, look that up for me, would you? Yeah, look up U.S. Marshals with Tommy Lee Jones. I think it was him. While Ray's looking
Wesley
that up,
Snipes, yep.
it was Wesley Snipes. There you go. And guys, with that down, that'll do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for being here, making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. Also, wanted to let you guys know a little bit of a programming note. There is not going to be an Open Mic tomorrow. I'm going to go get a cleaning at the dentist's. And the only time I can get it is in the late
part
afternoon.
two? Is it your part two?
It's part two of my cleaning. I got half the mouth cleaning done last week. Now they're going to do the other half. So I got to go get that. So there's no Open Mic tomorrow, but make sure you join us throughout the day for all of our individual story videos, the John Campea Show podcast, all that good stuff coming tomorrow. We hope that you will join us, of course. I want to thank Ray Ora,
Turtle Power. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
Jonathan Voico,
Go see the things. See you tomorrow.
and my name's John Campea. That'll do it for now, guys. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.
Go see the thing.